In the early times, the trees and animals were able to talk to one another. They lived close to each other and shared many things. But every year the cold time came and the birds would fly south to where it remained warm and would return with their families in the spring when the warm season returned. One year, as the cold season approached, a young sparrow was injured. He would not be strong enough to fly to the warm lands with his family by himself. So upon his decision, he made his family fly south to the warm lands without him. Injured, he knew he would not survive the cold season, so he sought the help of the trees. He approached the great oak. "O oak, I am injured and cannot fly. The cold season approaches, and if I do not find shelter before then, surely I shall die. Please, oak, lend me shelter among your leaves and branches during the cold times, that I might hail and greet my family on their return in the spring." But the oak was an old, mean tree, and did not relish the idea of having a guest in the cold time, so he told the sparrow, "Sparrow, go find somewhere else to spend the cold time. I do not wish to have you spending time with me." And the sparrow was hurt in his spirit to be turned away. So the sparrow went to Maple and asked her, "Maple, I am hurt and not able to fly to the warm lands with my family for the cold season. Please lend me shelter among your leaves and branches during the cold time, or surely I will die." And the maple, though being such a very sweet tree, did not enjoy the thought of having a guest for the cold time, and she too turned the young sparrow away. "You go ask someone else for shelter. I do not wish to spend the cold time with you." Again, the sparrow bowing his head, hurt in spirit. Sparrow went and turned to each of the trees in the forest and asked each for shelter in the cold time, and each and every time, Sparrow was turned away until there was no tree left to ask except for the pine. With no hope left, but not willing yet to accept death, Sparrow approached the pine. "Pine, I am injured and not able to fly south to the warm lands with my family. If I do not find shelter before the cold time, I will surely perish. Please, lend me shelter among the leaves and branches during the cold time." Pine thought to himself, "I am the least of the trees, so what can I do?" But his heart heard Sparrow's plight. "Sparrow, my leaves are tiny and they're more like needles. My branches are not as the many other trees. But what I have, I am welcome to share." And so Sparrow spent the cold time with the pine, and when the warm times returned in the spring, the sparrow's family also returned. And the sparrow had healed over the cold time, and it flew to greet with great songs of happiness. The Creator had seen and heard all that had happened between the sparrow and the trees, and the Creator called a great council of trees and spoke to them. "You who are given so much, who had so much, would not share the least of what you had with the poor sparrow in his time of need. Because of this, from this day forward, when the cold time is upon the land, your leaves shall wither and die and blow away, and you shall remain cold, just like you would have done to the sparrow." Then the Creator came and called the pine forward, and he spoke to the pine. "Pine, you who had the least of all the trees, gave so much, and you have truly touched my spirit. When the cold times come, you of all trees shall keep your leaves. They shall remain green through the seasons, for the gift you have given to me through Sparrow. And that is why to this day, that when the cold times come to the land, all the leaves wither and die and blow away, except for pine, forever showing how great kindness in times of need is seen by the Creator."